Okay, so from shade to segment 2, we're going to talk about the craziest game. Okay, this may not be the craziest game this year, Cedric, but it's got to rank up there. Earlier this week, Diamondbacks, Cardinals playing in Arizona. They go 19 innings, almost 7 hours. It was 6 hours, 53 minutes, a few stats. By the way, it was only a 3-2 game. So, I mean, not much scoring, which is unbelievable, but Diamondbacks use 27 players in this game. There were 46 strikeouts, which was almost a single game record in Major League Baseball. Wow. And they played again the next day, an afternoon game of all things. So crazy game won by the Diamondbacks, but it got us thinking crazy games we've witnessed. Cedric, what tops your list as it relates to long games, extra innings, overtimes? What stands out to you?
It's not even close. Texas Boston College NCAA Regional, May 30th, 2009. 684 pitches, 171 at-bats. Texas won 3-2. And there was, the game lasted a grand total of, drum roll, 7 hours and 2 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, and the game was won on an infield single by a guy named Travis Tucker. It was an eventual game-winning RBI, infield single, in the top of the 25th inning. And Travis Tucker was the hero of that game, Jen, and he went 2 for 12 in that game, 2 out of 12. And Austin Wood will go down in Texas lore. He threw 12 in third innings of no-hit ball. I think it was 190 pitches. And, not surprisingly, he leaves Texas and goes to minor league ball. And before he could really get going, guess what he had to do? Get Tommy John surgery. He was never the same after that. But I know he's part of the Texas baseball lore, but that is the craziest, longest game. You know, the weird thing about it, Jen, is I was there to Kirk Bowles was writing the daily column, and our beat writer, I think it was Alan Trudeau, he was writing the Gamer. I was there to bring back a column for the next couple of days or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I think I'm going to leave in the 6th inning. And there I was 19 innings later, still sitting there. I couldn't leave. You can't leave when you just want to really figure out who won the game. So that's the one that I will never forget, and it's been 10 years.
Yeah, well, I've got one that's a little more recent. This one only happened a couple years ago, 2017. But it was a Women's College World Series game. Softball event happens here in Oklahoma City. It's become a regular in the late spring, early summer, not only here but on ESPN. And Sooners, Oklahoma, playing Florida in the championship series. That's the best of 3 games. And these two really great teams, really fantastic, pitching, hitting, the whole 9 yards. And we knew it was going to be a great game because when you've got great teams in a championship situation, that sort of thing happens. But this became something completely different. 17 innings. It was a 7-5 game that on several occasions, Cedric, probably much like that game with Texas and Boston College with the baseball, you sort of think if a team in a situation like that, if they get any type of lead, it's gotta hold. Well, we had a couple instances in that game where teams took multi-run leads, and still the other guy was able to come back. There were 3 pitchers that threw complete games within that game, 7-inning games or more. 3 of them threw that. We saw an NHL Stanley Cup playoff game, start and finish before that game got over. There was just all kinds of craziness. Blue deadline, obviously. I was there. I was in Kirk's situation and being the columnist at the game. But we did the 7th inning stretch, which was actually the 5th inning stretch with softball being only a 7-inning game. They do that in the 5th. We did it 3 times, the 5th, the 10th, the 15th. So it was it was crazy, but it was a fantastic game, an epic game, one where you saw Shay Knighton, Oklahoma's talented infielder who has now graduated. She hits a home run in the 17th. Then Oklahoma has to get out of it one more time. They get out of it with Paige Lowry. Another talented Sooner gets the out, gets them out of it. They win. Just stuff that you don't ever forget. But that Diamondbacks game, Cedric, I know a lot of people around here, when they think about long games, they also think about the year several years ago that Oklahoma State's football team went to Tulsa and got weather delayed didn't even start the game until I think after midnight. Didn't get done till 2:30, something like that. But as far as games that weren't weather delayed, I mean, extra inning, softball, baseball, whatever, that to me, Cedric, that's got to take the cake, because those things, you just, like you said, you couldn't walk away. Nobody can walk away from those games.
And, and those games are pretty slow paced. So it just, between innings, the music's going, and it got to a point where people had left, but then they started to come back, and then it seemed like people were showing up in like the 14th or 15th inning. You see them walking in, and you're like, I think they may have just shown up here because they were listening on the radio, and I think they were letting people in. So,
yeah.
In football, you remember that 74-72 LSU A&M game from last season. I was watching that one on television, and I can't remember. I think I was up till 2 in the morning because I just couldn't tear my eyes away from it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Well, great to reminisce about those games that will always be in our memory banks.